Started pretty quickly here. Still got this whole head cold beating me up. May have to go find me a clinic or something because it's not getting that much better. But anyway, hope you had a great weekend. I had interesting family wedding over in Oklahoma, and my son-in-law was the photographer. So I helped some, and my daughter helped even more. And we took all the pictures for the wedding, and so that was a nice thing. But it was let's see, the easiest way to describe it is my sister's granddaughter who got married. So my great niece, I think that worked. Great niece, but yeah, she's like 21-year-old lady or something, somewhere around there, 2021, I'm guessing. And it was lovely. It was lovely. Very, very small wedding. There was probably they probably had 30 guests. They didn't want a real big. They did like a destination thing. They lived like 3.5 hours away, but they found this little venue down in Oklahoma and like Tallahena. I'd never been to Tallahena, Oklahoma before, but a lovely wedding venue there. And so about 30 guests, and then they're going to have a reception next weekend back where they live 3.5 hours away over in the middle of the state. And they'll have a lot more people at the reception. So that'll be nice. So we won't go to that. But actually, the wedding was only like 2 hours away from us. We were closer than the bride and groom. So that worked out pretty nicely. But anyhow, all right, let's pull up our curriculum here and see what we have going this week. Cybersecurity. All right, let's take a look at our grade screen as usual. Let's see. We're down to intrusion prevention this week. And then next week we have access management. And then we have a week off for Thanksgiving before we come back and wrap up with another career connection assignment. And then our access control review and discussion-based assessment right before finals. So I can talk about finals. Finals going to run a little, I didn't remember this. I'll mention this to programming later. Finals is going to be a little bit different this year in virtual because we're actually going to follow the final schedule that they have in the building. So finals are that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So whatever day that 0A's final is scheduled for is when we'll have our final. You'll come to class. I'll open up the final. You'll take it during class, just like they do in the building. When you come in for your final that day in the building, we're going to do the same type of thing where you'll take the final live in class on finals day. So we're going to do that for all of your virtual classes. You'll be taking the finals on the day of finals. So that's a little different. Generally, we've kind of opened it up and you've kind of taken it any time during those 3 days. But we're changing that just a little bit this year. Trying to make it a little easier on the in-school teachers as well, because some of these classes give the same final. And if we give the final online early, could have some students that haven't seen it yet in the building take a look at it early, and that's not fair to those teachers. So intrusion prevention. A firewall's primary role is to filter network traffic. So early firewalls only detected threats, which was half the job. I mean, think of it like a home alarm that alerts authorities and the alarm company when an intruder tries to break in. An intrusion prevention system, or IPS, takes it a step further and locks down the network, like bars closing on the windows, like if the intruders are detected to be something like that. So an IPS, intrusion prevention system, filters network traffic, but it bases its decision on analysis of malicious traffic patterns and records information about them. Then IPS administrators could take specific actions based on detected traffic patterns. So IPS solutions can also be used to identify issues within corporate security policies, deterring employees and network guests from violating the rules these policies contain. So you see the corporate network, internet, emails, whatever, they go through a firewall. Then it passes through the IPS and then the router and the internet. So another layer of protection. Here are the different threats an IPS is designed to prevent: worms, viruses, denial of service attacks, and distributed denial of service attacks. So IPS helps more than just the firewall. IPS inspection. Similar to security checking travelers at the airport before clearing them to fly, an IPS completely inspects every packet that travels across the network. If any malicious or suspicious packets are detected, an IPS will do the following. It will end the network session that's been exploited. It'll just cut them off. It'll add a temporary filter on the firewall to block that attacker's IP address so they can't reconnect. It'll throttle bandwidth to attacking host, applying complex firewall filters. And it'll modify suspect packets to render them harmless. So it'll really lock down your system and change some things. Some intrusion prevention systems provide antivirus scanning. So their rule sets can be configured to provide user content filtering, such as blocking URLs or applying time-based access restrictions. An IPS is positioned like a firewall at the border between two network zones, basically. So an IPS can also be configured to prevent confidential data from going out. This can be used to implement data loss prevention, or DLP. Security devices that bundle multiple functions like firewall, IPS, anti-malware, DLP, and secure VPN are known as Unified Threat Management, or UTM appliances, because they put them all together. So you got your users and your servers, and when you go through the internet, it's great to have all of this in a bundle. Your antivirus, firewall, IPS, passive vulnerability scanner. Very useful. Types of prevention. An intrusion prevention system is typically configured to use several different approaches to protect the network from unauthorized access. So let's check out some of the methods. So signature-based. So this approach uses predefined signatures of well-known network threats. The IPS maintains a growing database of these signatures, much like the FBI keeps a database of criminals and makes arrests if they capture a known criminal from their database. When the attacks start that matches one of these signatures or patterns, the system takes necessary actions. Because, there's known hackers, and so it keeps track of all those IP addresses, it looks for them, so it can specifically block them. So policy-based, this approach requires administrators to configure security policies according to organizational security policies and network infrastructure. So when an activity occurs that violates one of these security policies, triggers an alert, and it's sent to the system administrators. And then there's anomaly-based. This approach monitors for any unexpected behavior. Oh, wait a minute, something's going on. Well, that's kind of weird. And if a glitch is detected, it blocks access to the target host. Something unusual going on, we better block it because we don't know if it's allowed or something good or not. Safer to block it. It's important to note that a false positive can prevent legitimate traffic from network access, because maybe this unexpected behavior is unexpected, but it's legitimate. High volumes of false positives can prevent network administrators from catching active attacks. So you don't want to set it too severe to where it's blocking like everything that happens. Try to figure out what would be right, what would be wrong, so you can target it better. Honeypots. Honeypots. A honeypot's a computer system set up to attract attackers. So this is something you're intentionally, this is like one of those bait cars that they put out there in areas where they're stealing cars a lot. They got these bait cars they can put out there that have all these controls to them, to where once someone gets in there and steals the car, they can turn the car off and lock the doors and then come arrest the people. It's like cars they put out there intentionally to be stolen so they can catch car thieves. So this is the same type of thing. It's a computer system set up to attract attackers with the intention of analyzing their strategies and tools. So this detects early warnings of attack attempts and serves as a potential distraction to divert attention from actual systems. Additionally, honeypots can detect internal fraud and snooping, may catch someone in your company. So advantages include the following: fewer false positives because there's no legitimate traffic using the honeypot. That's not what your network users are using. You collect actual and useful information since it only logs illegitimate activity. Works in encrypted environments and does not require knowing attack signatures because anyone attacking it is someone you will need to be interested in. They're not always perfect. Here's some weaknesses. They can potentially be detected by an attacker. If someone's really sharp, they might detect that, oh, this is a fake thing. It can be used by an attacker to attack other systems because it is actually kind of part of your network. If you're not careful, they could use that to get into there. And only monitor interactions made directly with the honeypot could not detect attacks against other systems. Did you know? In 2015, cybersecurity professionals created an online railway control system as honeypot bait. The aim was to study how cybercriminals would attack projects that could potentially put the public at risk. In this case, the only damage done was to a model train set at a German technology conference. Project Honey Train suffered 2.7 million attacks in 2 weeks. Crazy. Crazy. There's a lot of hackers out there. Couldn't count how many. Security policies. Firewalls and other intrusion protector systems are vital. It's important to note, however, that insider threats are the leading cause of cybersecurity breaches. The inside threat doesn't necessarily mean that the insider has malicious intent. Most of the time, an employee makes a mistake, like clicking on one of those fake phishing emails that they should know better to. That leads to a security breach. But that's an internal breach because your employee stupidly clicked that email. Clear cybersecurity policies and regular employee training will not eliminate user error, but the frequency can be reduced and severity. A security policy should support security awareness in an organization and, in general terms, outline the risks, guidelines, and responsibilities. So these three mechanisms can be used to establish secure practices. One, have a standard. A standard is a measure used to evaluate the compliance with the policy. Are people complying with this? Are they doing what they're supposed to do? A procedure is often referred to as a standard operating procedure, or SOP. It's an inflexible step-by-step list of actions that must be completed on any given task. Anytime you do this, these are the steps you do every time. Guidance. Guidance exists for areas of policy where there's no procedures, either because the situation has not been fully assessed or the decision-making process is too complex to really set a procedure for. So sometimes you got to give guidance on those things. Knowledge check. All right. An IPS can provide an active response to any network threat that matches. This can include ending a TCP session, sending a spoof TCP reset package to the attacking host, or applying a temporary filter on the firewall to block the attacker's IP address. Let's see. Match each system with its description. So we have, well, let's see. Honeypot ought to be easy, right? That's a computer system set up to attract attackers. A honeypot. Let's see, a procedure deals with the protection of items like hardware devices, personnel, network, software, and data. A form of network security works to detect and prevent identified threats. An inflexible step-by-step list of actions must be completed on any given task. Right, like standard operating procedure. So policy-based IPS monitors for any unexpected behavior in the network. If a glitch is detected, blocks access. No. A form of network security detects. No, policy-based would make all the policies for everything like that. So anomaly-based is the one that detects for unexpected behavior. There's some anomaly, something unusual going on. Block that. And then IPS, of course, is just a form of network security that detects and prevents identified threats. So there's a little summary for you that probably helps with these 5 questions we're about to look at, because that's the end of the lesson. IPS filter monitors networks, takes specific actions based on where's an IPS usually placed. Type of IPS requires administrators to configure settings according to network infrastructure. Cybersecurity policies and regular employee training will eliminate user error. Yeah, we wish. It will not eliminate it because people's always going to make mistakes and procedures. So that's it. 5 questions, guys. 5 questions. Should be able to have that done before next class. Make that easy on you. If you got any questions, anything, be sure and let me know. But otherwise, we're just moving right on to the breaks. We're getting close to the end of the semester. Everyone's doing great. Make sure if you're missing anything, get that turned in soon so we're not up at the end trying to get caught up on anything. But you guys are doing well. So we'll catch you next time and have a great week. It's an A-Day Friday if you need help with anything.